Has anybody ever felt what it's like to be alone? There's nobody outside. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I'm so lucky because I've felt what it was like to be alone once before. And it's a horrible feeling. Are we in this world that we shouldn't feel to be alone, happy with ourselves for all the time forever and there's nobody else? It's a little sad what happened with Ron Paul, but they're talking good about him now, but I'm not too sure. I hope he's still there, but they're talking as though he's actually more than washed up. But for someone who wants to proceed in anything they acquire and want to do, he can succeed. I keep on writing and writing and writing and finding new different ways, and it doesn't matter what I do. It all has to do with this star and the X and the O. It's all about X and O. Have you ever seen what happens to this star if you play the spend a little time with me on it? I'm going to spend a little time and let's see what we can do together. You know what's bothering me? Okay. Let's see what we can do with this star. We always extend the finishing lines from the corners. 1, 2, 3, always extend. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and now this line going down here. 1, 2, 3, and this one going here. 1, 2, 3, and then it's going up here. 1, 2, 3, and then it's 1, 2, 3. It's going all the way up there. And what do we have? Hey, we can play EXO. Hey, the game already began. We've got a game of EXO right there. All the lines are perfect. And I can keep on extending them because I didn't extend this one here and I didn't extend this one here. Did I extend everybody else? You see the inside line, when you have to finish building the inside, may as well extend it on the outside. So we got this extended over here, and that would make the same thing over here, okay, and then over here. So now we've got the E world, and we still got an X in the middle. You see that guy in the middle? That's an X. That's us, tied up in the center of our own knowledge. We're in between. This is the way it goes. You see the angle you end up? You see yourself straight, right? But after you see yourself straight, look at the angles that everything else is going off at. It's going off on a 45-degree angle. You're straight in the world. Don't you see the X, how straight it is? But look at the world around you. It's not straight at all. And neither is anything else. Oh, at first I thought this was live. This is not live. Then I took it, I made a letter Y over here. Then I put an upside down Y, and then I made number 11. Okay, 2 Y's. I made a round circle at the top where the Y splits, and then I put a thing. You've seen that before. I think it's Xe in Greek. So what can we talk about? Saturn. You know that Saturn has the letter U in it? Jupiter has the letter U in it. Uranus has the letter U in it. Mercury has the letter U in it. Venus has the letter U in it. Earth doesn't have the letter U in it. Well, it sure does. Aren't you on Earth? See, that's why it tells me we are on Earth in this situation, because of the story it just told. There's no U on Earth. Don't you hear it? There's no U on Earth. We're not on Earth. There's U's everywhere else. And Mars either, there's no U. But it says Mars, lover of angel resident spirit. And then Earth, okay, says E-world angel resident of time heaven. So, but if it says there's no U on Earth, then hold on a second. What else is there? We went through Saturn. We went through, oh, and how about Neptune has a U? Saturn has a U. Jupiter has a U, Mercury and Venus and Uranus and Neptune, and even Pluto has a U. The two places that are no U, okay, are Earth and Mars. The two planets we put most of our heart and love into, there's no U. Isn't that funny or fishy? Be a fish's tale if the whole thing was right, eh? If anybody says to you which direction do you want to go, if you really want to tell them a good straight direction and the actual truth of metric, tell them to go about this way, like this, about 10 o'clock, because that's the true angle. Don't you feel good when your hand is like here on you, you know? It's 10 o'clock. It's a good angle. You don't want to put your hands down here. When you put your hands down, you put your hands up, you put your hands out. Oh, there's still people around here. Right now, what I'm trying to do, and I'm not sure which way to do it, is I'm trying to angle 36 numbers plus 9 numbers and remove everything that duplicates. When you get to the jack, it's the 10th letter, right? Everybody puts a circle. The minute you put a circle, my friend, that becomes automatically omega. It's an egg. So the jack is an egg, okay? If you see the word 15, right? Right away, 10 and 5. The 5 is the E, the 10th is the J, you have I. So where were we? So over here on the 4th row, it says Jekyll. God, Son of God, Jekyll. Then it goes D and F. What is this? What I did is I went over this twice. First, I started on A on the 1st row, and the minute I finished 3 rows, okay, da-da-da, the laws of Rubik's Cube. We have 1 cube done. We need to do another. But we have space in between, and we have to give that space a number. And the space between 2 things is usually known as the 8th heaven. I have been giving it the number 5, okay? And I don't know if I'm right or wrong, and I might justify with that if I can remember. What I mean by 5 is where the 5 is on the telephone. That's where all the, right here, this part of the cube is number 5, okay? But number 5 is also dead center. The 14th position that nothing's supposed to be there except for the movement of Rubik's Cube. There's just so many things I don't know if I'll ever, people are going to have to just ask me if they want to know. So we do 1, 2, 3 rows of Rubik's Cube, and then we have the space. And that whole entire space is called 4, 5, 6. Fed, 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 deaf, dumb, and blind. Shark plays a mean pinball in here. So this is a void, right? But there's usually supposed to be 1 here, 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 and the 14th Rubik's Cube. We are supposed to be one of these in the plug. And do you understand what I'm saying? Instead of just one Rubik's Cube, we need a lot of Rubik's Cubes, okay? Each one their own dimensional world for their own reason, okay? Each one with their own house, each one valued at 9 per square, okay? So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on a row. We put it on top. And then on the second row of Rubik's Cube, 14 is in the center. So you would live in that 14. But to give us more place, they put a Rubik's Cube on this side, a Rubik's Cube on this side, and a Rubik's Cube on this side, making space even greater when they put the multiples of Rubik's Cube, because when you got to the 14th of this Rubik's Cube, there was no Rubik's Cube. It was Earth instead. And we were born on it, to the center Rubik's Cube of everything. We're the one spirit of the 2 worlds of creation. We are the jokers, both black and red. Friday in French is vendredi. À vendre. Sounds like we're for sale on the 6th day. Probably be a bread sale, but no man has any more bread to spend. Nothing to spread around. The doe and a deer. Doe is when you have cash. A buck is when you have $1 in your hand. They're both husband and wife to Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, who brought on Santa Claus right through the night. You know what I'm saying? And they woke, they made people few. They made people see. Why should we judge one? What a stupidity, eh? So anyways, now we have 2 planets, Earth and Mars, without any U's on it. What does that mean? Okay. Mars has two moons, Earth is 1. Mercury and Venus have no moons, but it doesn't matter because the moon of Mercury is only needed inside the child of birth, and the same thing with Venus, inside the second world of Venus, birth through us. So it all comes from number 9, 2, 9, and 1, 9 is the birth. Need no moons. We are the moons. We are communicative. We are born and we will die. We are the moons of both Mercury and Venus, M and V. 13th letter, creation of 1. V is for life, 22. 13 and 22. 35. 3 times 5 is 15. That's omega egg. 3 and 5 is 8. The total is 23. Beta creation, number 2 and 3. And on the other side of 3 is 4. 2 and 3 and 4. Because 1 is actually playing in the 1 is in the 2 position. And that is in one part of the world, okay, in the center world. But in the spirit world, he plays in the 4 position. So he's 4 and 2. And man is the combination of both of them that make up the world. And the heaven is just a return ventilation, just like the hair that grows on your head. Neptune has 13 moons, representing Mercury and Earth. Saturn has 61 and 60. Saturn represents both Venus and Mercury and itself as 6. Jupiter is 63 moons, creation of man, a totality of 3 and 6, the number that is at the end because it connects to all the other moons. And the biggest connector for some reason, okay, is like I've been telling everybody, where do you think God put the house? Did he put it in the middle of the street? Okay, although we may be centered to the placement that we are in, okay, we are not centered to the game because it's not all about us, it's only part about us. It's the system that we are in. It allows us to do certain things and we gain certain privileges based on what we do in our life, not what happens, what we do. Not what happens, not the result, what we actually do, the way we got to do it, not the result. The result will always be. You cannot change the result. It has already happened. So you put out all these Rubik's Cube, and like I said, 41 and 14, my friends, are the middle of 2 of these cubes. The reason for this is 27, and then 14 makes it 41. But if we have to go through another level, I have to add on more. So I want to see if my number will change. Give me any number. Give me any number. 28? That'll be a black 1. It means it's a black 1. It's a spirit. It's a black. It's in this world. Why do I get that? Because 2 and 8 is 10. And 10 is black. 1 and 9 is 10, but 1 and 9 are red numbers. So anyways, let's get back to the moons, okay? We have 27 moons on Uranus. Why would they need 27 moons? It's the exact number of the gates. You know why? You hear the word of the gates or negates. Means 1 take away 1 because 2 doors open. 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom. 1 take away 1. Opens and closes. So we get 27. So if there's 2 and 7, that means there's a representation between 2 Venus and 7 Uranus, its own number. When you have Earth, we have 1 moon. And the moon is represented in French by lundi, Monday. It means moon day. What does moon mean? Does it mean man of two eyes, O and O, two omega eggs, and the passage? That's exactly what it means, Monday. Okay? There is something in the stars, and there is a God in this world. There most definitely is a God creator that will come. And there's been 100,000 people like me who have said the same thing. Okay, so I guess we're off to the races. Maybe one day if it happens, we won't know who to recognize. Well, it's pretty simple. When God comes, you recognize God. Who cares who brought upon how he came here or whatever, from whose premonition, who said it first? It's not what this is all about. This is all about the truth and the freedom into a new world of honesty, where you can make a buck, you can make a fair buck. You know, you can go on the corner and say, hey, buddy, for 20 bucks, I'll do the job. Now you say you want to go 20 bucks in the corner and do the job. We got to, you know what, we have to, there's a system out there that you don't really have to check people all that much. It's not that hard to figure it out, you know. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to want to cheat. They're all going to know what the end result is. But if somebody goes and makes an extra 20 bucks on the side, somebody needs help, can't be scared. The government's going to walk in. Holy crap. Seventh gate. Uranus. Doesn't Uranus sound like your ass? But that's okay. Because so does the sun. Because when you say sun backwards, it's nous. It's like your ass in nous. You know what I'm saying? This has all been created for us, my friends. We are coming down to the final end of the game. It must end by the end of 2014, because in 2014 it is a passage and a beginning into the new world. Will not show up in the Hebrew calendar until 2050, 78. It should show up. It falls on an 8 because that is the opening of the big door of the heavens. Every number has a door. It has to work that way. How far off can I be from a premonition of a thought, of a vision that I can see and why? Anyways, let's get back. Okay, where's all the moons? Mars, fourth planet, 2 moons. 2 and 4, 24 hours of man. Times 3 is 72. The 7th gate of Venus, of Uranus. We got to unpuzzle this. We have it. We have all the information. There's not much more we need. Plus some of the constellations and stars. We can recreate the stars right here on this planet and see exactly what's going on right now. You don't think so? I think so. I think so. I don't think we have very much work to do. I mean, the stars are there every night. I mean, it's the clue, right? So you got to look up into the sky. The clue's there for everybody. Don't you think God would have been fair? If it's in the sky, everybody's allowed to look up. Put your hands in the car and look up. Look down. Look up. Well, where do you want me to look? But if you look too far straight forward, you're going to catch God in the sky once again, in the horizon. You look up, you look down. It doesn't matter where you look. He's in there somewhere. Look at me, buddy. You know the what's going on in the air right now. You know what I keep thinking? What's going on in the air? This distortion of the clouds. I think it was asked for by the lower worlds because they knew they were coming down and they needed to have a certain type of sky, and they asked them to just do all this stuff before they come in. But the thing is, you see, when an evil call, doesn't matter if it's good who calls or evil who calls, right? It doesn't matter. What the evil thinks, right, doesn't mean that's the truth. When the good comes, he really doesn't have to say a word. It's hard to explain this. When I say evil, the strength of the demon devil that comes at the end of every parade, the strength of the demon devil will be crushed, as they always are, because in this world, the only way the red devil lives is if he has a value of power. In this world, that is the way Satan lives. It is with power over the people. When Satan loses the power over the people, the evil kingdom will die. Easier than even going to war. They will just seem to just all disappear because there's nothing around for them anymore, and they don't want to be near anybody. Now it's time that they will hide in their own little jail, a whole little village of jailbirds that rob the people of the globe, of their money, of their food, starving people of the world. Disgusting. Insanity. Talking about insanity. People not eating, starving of hunger, and people putting away billions and trillions of dollars, not looking to save the people of the land of God. If you say, oh, I stand on guard for thee, you stand on guard for killing anything for thee. Let me tell you something, my friends. At the end of the book, when Armageddon comes, the dragon turns around and we look at each other. He's been silent and he's hot under the collar. And he's looking for a good laugh so he can blow his hot air at you. Right, Dragon? 7286. Follow Highway 70 in the U.S. and follow Highway 80 in the U.S. Is there a train track around there? Follow those two highways all the way until you get to Utah or somewhere around there, wherever you go. Something is going on down that route. Okay. Where did I find this? Because my 7286 woke me up one night and said to me, I'm not just 7286. What about, can't I be whole by myself right now? I am 7 of the 10th section, and with me is 2 at your doorstep. Would you like to see what 2 says, or do you want to hear the biography of 7 before you see what 2 says inside 7? Of 86, of the heaven of 10, which is Jack, which is the secondary world, 10 times anything, 10 times 1. The minute you hit 1 in this world, you are absolutely not at 1. You're at 10. But when you're at 2, you're at 20. When you're at 9 and the letter I, which is the letter R, you're actually at 180 degrees at the letter R. I probably won't remember what I am saying right now, and everybody else probably don't even understand what I'm actually telling you at the meantime. But I will tell you at the end of the final totality of this end story is thank you very much for watching. Before I go, there's a God. There's something out there. Whatever do I know this? Does it seem like I know it? If I know anything, and I feel I do, okay, I really do, how does it work? Am I making it up in my head because the story sounds good to me? But then I see numbers like 74, and I know it's the number of Christ just by a letter count and other numerological things that I have done, basing my equations on a pool game or a set of letters in the alphabet that look like each other and names in the constellation of Pegasus and where it lands here on the power of this earth up in the Baffin Islands and Nunavut, right on the way towards North Pole. If you don't think Santa Claus is not in the North Pole, maybe his energy is passing to the North Pole. And you know what that sock is? Does anybody know what that sock is? The socks mean, okay, it means down to your ankle and out from your heel over to your toe. That's all it means. Heel to toe. It's God's. You move with God's movement through. The only reason man knows how to move is because nothing can move without the knowledge of God in the Matrix. I mean, imagine you're playing Nintendo and the guy didn't know how to move. The guy couldn't move. You play and you turn your stick and the guy couldn't move. You pick up your telephone, you get mad, you call the manufacturer, right? Well, not in this world. The man's got to move. You know what I'm saying? We're electronics. We get up and we go. Well, most of us, glad to be. I am robotic, just like you. We are the fingertips of what something else could not do. That's why this world And God put in all kinds of stuff. Do you know why actually this world is like this? One of my thoughts is because when we were angels, we had an ABC quest and test, okay, and a quiz. And whoever wants to go to Earth, when do you want to go? What time frame? What kind of persons you want to be like? And you signed us down, and God says, your turn. And you go, whoop! And you end up on Earth as a child, and you grow up with the memories that you have, and you die, and you go back to where you were, and you go, whoa! Was that like Bellman Park down there? Guys, listen to this. It's open park, Bellman Park. You walk down the street, you see a restaurant. You go inside, you see what you like. You take out this thing called money. So you give them the money. They always tell you to check for your change because they say it's important to have the money. And you pay them the money, they give you food, and it's good, the food. Yeah, but you know what the sad thing about it is? He says, you know what? You don't get to stay there when you like it. Yeah, they tell you you're going to get old, and then the day you're going to have a die. Now I'm trying to figure out, here's a die. It's got 6 sides. Is that what they were talking about? Yeah, you were going to go through the time of your life, turning around and around in a single die here in the life of Rubik's Cube. And I said, okay, I want to go. And, oh, in 1968, oh, I look back into the mirror, I go, wow, I'm 5 years old. October 4th, 1963. Wow. Then I started to get mad, and I didn't know why. I was banging my head against the wall. Then I started having these freaked out dreams, numbers and letters. 30 years later, I'm still banging my head on the wall, and I'm starting to understand these numbers. I was so scared of what death brought because I didn't like the end. And I was only at the beginning, but I didn't like the end because I knew everything would end. At the end, sad time at the end, sad time at the end. But it's just a shame that I can't get that feeling as much as I used to because I don't see it the same way anymore. But I pretend sometimes to see that sad time at the end just to find a greater joy in the time that I am living. Sad time at the end, sad time at the end, sad time. Look at the people around you. Well, there's no one. But you have to stop being MrTacpans. What are you talking about? That's who I am in outer space. I am MrTacpans. Are you trying to change everything around now? I was trying to get to be sad. Can't you let me be sad? I never get to be sad anymore. This is no fun. But I will tell you one thing before I go. Listen to this. When you draw, listen to this, okay? I'm in the 28th minute, and I'm going after this. When you draw a picture, whether horizontal or vertical, where do most people put the sun? When you see the sun on television, where do they put the sun? You ever notice like the kids when you start, everybody's putting the sun up in the corner here? Why is everybody putting the sun up in the corner? How can anybody just put the sun right in the middle? Like what in our heads tells us to put the sun in right over here? This, my friend, okay, our world is Omega. Omega is the 15th letter. 15, 1 and 5, meaning the first and fifth letter, meaning it is also from the first to fifth letter. Since you automatically have the fifth letter, you automatically, okay, by having 4 and 5 as the fifth letter, flip it over, so then you have a repeat of 5 and 6. So you will have 4, 5, 5, 6, or you will have 4, 5, 6, 4, which will be the same row by flipping over the triangles. What world are we in? Is it this world over here? Let's try to decipher. What is pi all about? Should I go back to the moons? Forget it. I told you I was ending it before we came up with the 30-minute sign. You know what happens at the 30-minute sign? They close us out. And we gotta jump real quick. We'll have 7.5 seconds to jump over if we hit it at the 59.2-second mark. So I gotta get off right now. Raphael 7286 in the constellation of Pegasus. For all man, time has come to a special time.